Everybody, welcome back to the channel. Well, as you can see, we're getting a little bit of snow. It's a few days before Christmas now. The snow, we had a lot more snow before. We had a bit of a warm spell and all went away, and we're just trying to build it back up now. As you may have heard before, I like a lot of snow around, and this is not cutting it. We might have 4 inches, but it's loosely packed. We need a good 2 feet to make me happy. So when we're thinking about winter, we're always thinking about firewood. And there's been a couple trees that have been dropped and blown over. So I'm going to get out of the bush today, and we're going to get those cut up. And that'll be wood in the oven for next year, a whole calendar year from now. Because we're going through a fair bit of wood this year. The setup in our house is that we have a wood stove, and we have a propane furnace backup. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't like to see that propane furnace come on at all. So we keep that wood stove going pretty good. I don't know the economics of it. It probably doesn't make sense to put all the effort into firewood, but it makes you feel good in here, and the heat off the wood stove is always nice. You can hear the dogs fighting in the background there. In the Christmas spirit, they're trying to murder each other. All right, we just got to get our safety gear and we'll be good to go. Hey, sugar. Come here, sugar. Come here, sugar. Come here. There's a good girl. Just a note about Sugar. She used to be a pretty quiet little girl, and she's just going to be 4 shortly. And we know the rest of her family, and the rest of her family is very gregarious and active. Sugar just liked to lie down on the couch and do nothing all day long. And we noticed she was losing hair out of her tail, and that kind of tipped us off. And we started looking up the symptoms surrounding hypothyroid. So we took her into the vet, and they did a bunch of tests, and sure enough, her thyroid is almost producing nothing. So she's on a medication now, and I'd say within 4 days we notice a difference. She's back up and running around now and fighting with the other dogs, so that's a good sign. And she doesn't listen any better. All right, here's our first tree. You probably got about 50 feet of wood there, of good wood. It's a good sized maple. I cut it down in the late summer because it was in my way. We're trying to put a trail in here so we can access some more land back here with the tractor. And when I have the bucket on the tractor, it's wide. It's like 8 feet at the front. And I just kept hitting this tree, so I just said to hell with it, and I'm going to take it out. I still got to cut this down a bit, and then it'll open the trail up nicely here. Anyway, so we have this nice big chunk of firewood sitting here, and we're not going to let the forest reclaim it, and we'll get it out of here. So we got to start cutting it up first. So we got to cut the top off first. So I still got a pretty long piece here, and I probably got a piece here about 45 feet long. I don't want to cut it up into sections here because I want to be able to pull it out without having to re-rig each time and get more out. So the other tree we got to do is just on the other side of the yard, and we're going to go get that trimmed up and ready to pull out as well. So this is the other one we got to get right here. It's in a bit of a tricky spot, but I can still get at it with the tractor, so that's what we'll do. So I'll have to cut the root ball off here first, and then go up and cut the far end. I'll probably use the tractor to get the root ball out of the way here. It's a bit tricky to get in here, but hopefully we don't flip the tractor over. Well, cutting this tree down because it forks off like that might be a little tricky. I can see that the bottom branch is wedged up against this one, and the top branch is wedged up against that big dead tree right there. So when we cut them out, it's going to jump one way or another. So we'll have to be careful that we don't end up with this on top of our foot. There was a bit of movement there. You always want to be careful and think of if there's any tension in that tree. It could get you. I don't want to spend Christmas in the waiting for a doctor that's never going to show up in our ER. There we go. We have about 10, 20, 25, 30 feet of wood here. It's I could tell when I was cutting it, you can still see a bit of the green edge on the bark, so it must have been getting some nutrients even though the root ball was turned up like that. But regardless, this time next year she'll be ready to go in the stove. The plan is at some point to get the wood shed done, and I'll have 2 or 3 years wood ahead. Seasoned wood is better. Let it go a couple of years, that would be really nice, but we're just trying to keep ahead of the game right now. You can see the holes in this tree. I'm not quite sure what caused this tree to snap off here, but regardless, there's a stump here with holes in it. And what those holes are from is pileated woodpeckers. It's a really big woodpecker. It's awesome to see. They fly around the forest here like they're little jet fighters. And you can hear them a long ways away. When I'm sitting in my tree stand waiting for deer that aren't going to show up, the woodpeckers usually show up and give me a bit of a show. So back almost 50 years ago, my friend Carl and I used to spend a lot of time out in the bush, and whenever we'd come across a tree like that, we'd try to push it over. But now taken me 50 years to get smarter. I like to leave trees like that now because it feeds the woodpeckers and it gives them houses to places to build houses. We used to put a lot of energy into pushing those trees over, but hopefully our energy is better spent now. I think we're going to take the other tree out first because it'll be easier. For this tree, I think I'm going to have to put the bucket on the tractor. Right now I got the forks on it. The forks will work better on the other tree. The bucket, I'm going to need the bucket to deal with this root ball before we can get this tree out. I plugged the tractor in about an hour ago, so she should be ready to go. I just had to use the tractor a little bit to pick up this end so I can get the chain under it. Now, of course, we're not going to stick our hand under the log because I just got it on the tip of the fork there. If that comes off, maybe I'll be spending the rest of the Christmas season out here. Twice. Grab her a little better. Relatively painless. Didn't pinch off any dogs on a fence post, so that was that's good. I think we're going to give that other one a try just with the forks. Maybe I can lift the tree up over the root ball to get it out. You always have to be careful when you have that the snowblower on the back. It's basically the same as tying a 2x4x8 to your butt and trying to run through a forest. You really got to look out because it's extends out so much from the tractor when you're driving around. It has quite a swing to it. So even with this big yard we have, I'm always moving the vehicles around because I'm afraid I'm going to clip them off with a snowblower. That thing's built like a tank compared to the metal on vehicles nowadays. It would be like throwing a lawn dart through a wet piece of newspaper. Well, that went pretty good. Sometimes I find that if you put something in the big brain bucket there and let it marinate around for 15-20 minutes, it makes a bit more sense and might save you some work. So I'm going to pick this log up now with the forks, and we'll take it over to where we're going to cut it up. Go, pipe. Maybe a little close getting between those two trees. I'll make it work. I'll go get the saw and we'll start bucking this up. I think we're a little heavier on this end, so we're going to start cutting from this end, and I'll cut a couple here and then go the other side and cut a couple off there, and then hopefully we end up with just like a 4-foot piece in the center. it gets too heavy on one side and it tips and it goes up, it's just a pain in the butt to deal with. So it's better to work through this slowly than put yourself into the extra work mode. This one's a little bit longer, but I think we'll try to do the same thing. Try to grab it in the center with the forks and then lop a bit off each end. It seemed to work on the other guy all right. As normal, I can always work so long with my wrist, but tomorrow we'll come back and throw this on the splitter and get it all split up. I think we probably have enough for here for about maybe 4 or 5 weeks, 3 weeks, somewhere around there. So now I'm going to head in the house and put some ice on my wrist and ice in my glass and have a little water of life. Till tomorrow. Well, that's it. Probably about 4 weeks worth of wood. That's not bad. And by this time next year, it'll be nice and dry and ready to go. Like I said before, the longer you let firewood sit, the better, as long as it's covered up, not getting wet or sitting on the ground. But anyway, we're good. It's the Christmas Eve day. So I'm going to head inside, pour a little eggnog. And after I get this put away, I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I might see you again before the New Year. I really appreciate you guys watching my channel. If you leave a comment at the bottom, that'd be great. Merry Christmas. Take care. Didn't pinch off any dogs on the post. I didn't pinch off any dogs on the phone. I didn't pinch off any dogs on a post. I didn't pinch off any dogs on a fence post, so that's good. So I just want to wish everybody, I just want to